when a man decides he is not ready to be a father, yes, you can pay. I pay child support. I'm down for paying to support your children. But why do we expect that a person that does not want to be a father should be ostracized and forced or just beat over the head for being a father? If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. I have 4 children.
Hold on a minute, B.
Well, I mean, as a man who does not want to be a father can take steps to ensure that you do not become a father. Am I right?
Yes, but once you become a father, we're not talking about the steps. Okay, because this happens.
Well, no. The thing is,
make him be a father, you guys. I mean,
that's not what I said. I did not say that you had to make anyone be a father. I just asked a simple question.
Yeah, but I think B and Cotman, you can weigh in on this. You said that if a woman finds she has certain options, she could put a child up for adoption, she can get an abortion, and if she puts up for adoption, why isn't she called a deadbeat mom? Well, if a child is put up for adoption and the father consent, he's not called a deadbeat dad. Or if she has an abortion, he's not called a deadbeat dad. He's called a deadbeat dad when the child is born and he doesn't help take care of the child and take care of his commitment. So you can't compare apples and oranges. It's the same thing. If the mother has the child and doesn't abort it and doesn't put up for adoption and she don't take care of the child, she is ridiculed as a mother.
Right. But also, if she does put the child up for adoption or has an abortion in some communities, she's also going to be ridiculed. So it's not like it's an easy decision that she'll be making any which way.
We're out of time. We didn't get to my story. I want y'all to talk about next week Michael Cotman's story on Bob Johnson and the president. But let me take my step out of here. Thank you, Michael Cotman, blackamericaweb.com. Make sure y'all read them. And thank you, Dr. Eleanor Tatum. Let me thank all of you that called in and couldn't get through but hung in there anyhow. Let me thank my executive producer, Fatim Muhammad, technical producer, Lee Majors. Remember, tonight and every night, Monday through Friday, Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I'll be live, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central on MSNBC. And remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody. Reverend Al told you personally. Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Talk to you tomorrow. Keep it real. Keeping 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 it real.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of WGCV 620 AM, its staff, or
Good God! I got to ask you what we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. Hit me.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. cooking today. We're cooking today. Dr. Thelma, how are you today? Thelma Reese. Good afternoon, everybody. Dr. Bobby Fleischer. Now that's strange. That they're not on the air. They're always present. Jamal, where are my guests? Where are my elder chicks? Oh my goodness, I'm just stunned. My elder chicks are not here. That is a little unheard of, if I must say so myself. My guests are not here. Okay. Let me regroup and see what's going on. Somebody needs to go tell Nancy that my guests are not on the line. And see what's going on here on the Armstrong Williams show so we can regroup. I'm sure we're going to figure this out. I mean, these guys, when they don't show up, I worry. That's unusual. We'll find out. But anyhow, how's everybody? Hello, Dr. Fleischer. How are you?
Fine, Armstrong. How are you?
You're worrying me. You're worrying me.
It's good to hear your.
You're worrying me. I was about to get nervous.
Oh no! I've been calling in for 5 minutes. Nobody picked up the phone.
Oh wow!
I don't know what was going on.
And Bob, that's the same issue probably with Dr. Reese. Dr. Reese,
so she's not.
No, she's not on the. Yeah. Yes. Sorry about that. My apologies. So, how are you doing today? I always ask
I'm doing fine. We've had some terrible thunderstorms here. Maybe that's interfering.
You know, I hear the world is experiencing that.
Hi,
Armstrong. Yes. I'm here too.
What happened to you?
Oh, you're here also.
That's
now.
not like you.
I've been trying, and it rang, and then I got a busy, and now I had to try again.
I was having the same difficulty.
My apologies.
Oh, it's not you. It's the elements.
So let me raise this with you. You know, a lot of people talk about how to stay young, how to keep the mind young and never aging. Obviously, we're aging, but is there such a thing about how do you keep the mind young?
There are certainly things to do.
Well,
want to know what we do?
What is the secret for keeping the mind young? Is it something you read, you exercise?
I think there are several things that tend to seem to keep the mind young. I mean, we can't keep it young, I guess, forever and ever and ever, but we can certainly try. And I think that thinking outside yourself is one of my pet theories about this. Not becoming so extraordinarily self-involved that you really close your mind to the outside world. I think that has a lot to do with keeping the mind young.
Dr. Reese?
I would agree with that. I think that's really important, not to isolate yourself in a way that makes you think that everything that happens is about you. And it helps you to focus on other people. There are a few little things that I also do on my own, and I'm sure that Dr. Fleischer does. I know because some of them she plays with me. We both play a lot of word games, and we do this on the computer or the iPad or on paper. And usually, before I go to sleep at night, I do Sudoku puzzles for a little while, and it sort of calms my mind. Makes me not think hard about anything that's really going on in my own mind. I think that's good, and it makes me focus on something where I have to solve a puzzle. Not always successfully.
You know,
no, but thinking it all through. That's one of the things. I think that may be one of the reasons I enrich so much, because each time you pick up a hand, it's a new problem to be solved. And this I find very, very stimulating. So yes, I think games and all of that is extremely helpful. I think.
I remember, Armstrong, that I had a neighbor who has passed on now. She was a wonderful woman in California who, I guess she was about 85, and her sister was in a retirement place. Her sister was in her 90s. They had lived together, but the sister needed more care by then. And my friend saw me doing Sudoku one day, and she said, "Would you show me how to do that?" And in about 5 or 10 minutes, I just showed her what I did, and I do the easier ones. And she thanked me. She bought a book. She started taking it with her on her daily visits to her sister, and she said that her sister's doctor told her he thought this was wonderful mental exercise for the two of them. So it's a long-winded kind of way to tell you that maybe there are some exercises we can do.
What about for people who it's just exercise is just such a struggle for them?
You're talking about physical or mental exercise?
Either, whatever. Well, if they can't really feel they can do the physical exercise.
Well, sometimes your body just doesn't allow you to do it. We hope that your mind will continue to stay agile enough to do mental exercises, however.
Yes, you can't always bet that you're going to be able to do things physically. And
right.
I think an important thing to remember is not to feel guilty about that or to be so disappointed in yourself that you can't have other ways of remaining active and stimulated. If they're mental, so be it, or spiritual, there are ways to keep your mind active.
I tell you, if there's one thing that I can say, I don't think that senior citizens should ever give up on their activity in their home, whether women washing clothes, ironing, cooking, cleaning the kitchen, dusting, whatever they call it, and older people out chopping wood or walking the dog or whatever it is. Because I think once you can see that you cannot do anything like that anymore, and you never want to become locked to your bed or chained in your chair. You got to keep those limbs active in some kind of way, which keeps the mind active.
I think
Absolutely.
if you possibly can, that's absolutely true. And many people do kind of give up easily, and we've seen that can be a terrible mistake. I think another mistake can be that some of these weaknesses or some of these setbacks are temporary, but we may let them become permanent by not trying to bound back from them,
And actually, Thelma, something that you said, I think, was very valuable, I think, in
I'm
this
so glad.
regard. And that is that often, I think, when somebody has a physical, let's say, not exactly a disability, but a setback that may or may not be permanent, they blame themselves and consider themselves failures and say, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm finished," and essentially they become finished. Not because they really need to be, but because they are blaming themselves. They're feeling guilty about that.
Yeah.
I think there's so much in your state of mind that contributes to people becoming inactive or less active.
Yes.
One of the things I've always been curious about, and I'm setting us up for the next segment, is you all both have watched the activities of senior citizens for a long time. You've been involved in this process. You know the one thing, the signs of when senior citizens are slowing down, that the things that they should be cautious of. And I've always wondered, why is it that when someone breaks a bone, injures themselves, that it's almost like a death sentence to them? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. I'm Armstrong Williams, Dr. Thelma Reese, Dr. Barbara Fleischer. We'll be back.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams. What does it mean to be conservative? Freedom of speech, freedom of free enterprise, freedom of assembly, less government, less taxes. As a matter of fact, a flat tax. Everyone should pay proportional tax. It doesn't matter whether you make 100 million or 10,000. Everyone should pay their 10%. Everyone should have something at stake in this American economy. I'm Armstrong Williams, expressing what we mean by conservative traditional value.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Hi, this is Armstrong Williams with an opportunity to own a piece of paradise in Nassau, Bahamas. Spectacular land prices, 8,000 square feet, 20,000 square feet lot, affordable prices, hilltop properties with views of the magnificent sea. Just call 242-677-3120 or 3121 or go to info@rightsidewire.com and leave your information.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
So why is it that when there's a fracture, a broken bone, they seem to not be able to recover? It's like a death march.
Well, I think that's so often true, Armstrong, and I think it's kind of complicated, but I think that some of the contributing factors are our attitudes about age, our ideas that people are no longer really valuable when they're not hale and hearty and seeming young anymore. And so when someone has these physical problems, which take longer to heal when we get older, I mean, that's just a physical fact. You know how fast a toddler's broken arm mends. Well, that's not what happens when you're 80 and more. But what we forget is that that's not what life is about. That's not what the spirit is about. And I think the rest of us, the rest of society, has made people feel, too, that once they start declining physically, they're not of value. And so many people give up when that starts. And they don't understand they can be valued for the incredible contributions they can still make.
Dr. Fleischer?
Yes, I certainly agree with that. I think that part of the reason that broken bones at one point seemed to increase the rate of decline is that it's about people's expectations. They give up. Maybe they're asked to do therapy, and maybe they do it half-heartedly or don't do the whole job. I think that these are things that ought to be looked at when people break bones and physical therapy is recommended. How much compliance is there actually? I've heard people that I know somehow say, they're too tired, or they just can't do it, or don't give it the effort, because I think they don't expect that they're going to be recovering.
I think one of the things that really bother me, and I want to spend some time addressing this, somebody could be in their 80s, they're spry, they have wonderful weight on them, the face is full, they're energetic, and yet they can have one little setback, a heart malfunction, somebody has put in a pacemaker, or they injure themselves, and then all of a sudden the doctor puts them on all this medicine, and then when 7 or 8 months they transform into a person you don't even recognize anymore. They look so fragile and such, like an invalid. And you said, this medicine, what has happened?
I think you're absolutely right. That's another thing that I've heard. That people they're on this medicine and they feel zonked out or somehow diminished on that medication, as though that has to be the answer to their problems. And I think often it is not. It may be the cause of further problems.
It often is. And we also know that some of the medications that people are put on at an advanced age have other side effects that people didn't even realize. And loss of memory, for instance, can be mistaken for dementia when sometimes, not always, obviously, but sometimes it's the effects of some medication for something else. And then we hear that when the person is off that medication, they seem to be themselves again. They somehow have regained memory. It's happened. I know it's happened in my family to people, and the expectation that someone was going to be permanently injured, crippled, unable to function, would have to live in an assisted living place as at best, was totally wrong when she turned out to be just over-medicated. So, and when people get into that situation, unfortunately, they don't all have families that care enough or people close to them who care enough to help them navigate the medical scene that might have to be looked at.
Right, everyone needs an advocate.
But
unfortunately, when you get older, you don't always have one.
But you need an advocate in that hospital room where they're trying to just give you all this medicine from Coumadin. And you need somebody to say, well, wait a minute. You need a balance, because they just feel they can just medicate these people. And the other thing they do is that they bring them back for these battery of tests, knowing that there's nothing wrong, so they can get paid on their Medicare.
Well, or so they can avoid lawsuits in case anything goes wrong.
Right. I mean, it's unbelievable.
It's a problem.
Oh.
It's definitely a problem.
And many of these senior citizens are afraid not to go to the doctor because they want to live, but it's just so much pressure on them. These needles, these tests, these pills.
Yeah. And how to know which are going to really serve them in a way to keep them going, and which are going to really turn out to be just as bad themselves.
But
it's a tough call.
But how do you help them balance that out? Somebody's listening to the show today, going through the very same thing. I don't think we got a caller. Caller, is there a caller? Look, how do you balance? What advice do you share with them, Dr. Fleischer?
I'm sorry. If that was my phone ringing, the other phone. I did not hear the. I did not hear the question.
How do you help families and senior citizens balance out how much medicine, how little medicine, how not to go back for these battery tests? How do you help them? It's just overwhelming, and they're so fatigued when they leave the doctor after these visits.
First of all, I don't think that that person should be going to the doctor alone. I think that person needs to go to the doctor with somebody else who can ask the questions and ask the doctor, what is that medication for? Is that medication needed? What are the side effects? So that, because the patient often is either emotionally involved or it doesn't occur because of the emotional involvement to ask these questions. Is sometimes fearful of questioning the authority of the doctor. Oh, you can't do that. You can't question the doctor. So it's really important to have an attitude. I want to know what this is for. And if I can't ask the questions, someone I hope would be with me who would ask the questions.
And by the way, Armstrong, I don't know how far it's going around the country yet, but I was at a meeting yesterday of some senior people who are working with seniors, I should say, and here in Philadelphia, in one neighborhood in Philadelphia, a group has started that provides all kinds of services to seniors who are remaining in their own homes as they age, who choose to or can't afford to do otherwise, and for a very nominal fee, members, and the membership is free, members can call and request a person for an hour or 2 hours or whatever time they need, as I say, at a nominal fee per hour for all kinds of services. And what was the one they were including? It was someone to go with you to the doctor. If you have an appointment and you don't have a relative or a close friend who can go with you, in this program, people can get someone knowledgeable enough to go with them, because it really is vital not to go alone. So if anyone's listening who has some senior friend or relative, help a friend too, offer to go with them. And take notes. Take notes when you're there. I think that most sincere healthcare professionals welcome that kind of attention, and then you, while you're there, you repeat the instructions. Make sure that you and the patient know what's going on, understand what you have to do.
Well, if you don't, sooner or later you will. What do you think of some of the greatest challenges for seniors to overcome to have at least a decent life, Dr. Fleischer?
Actually, the ones that we have been talking about.
So you're not concerned about
what is going to happen is physical decline. Eventually, there's going to be some physical decline, and how to deal in a manner that does not diminish your expectation of what your life can be. I think it's extremely important. I also think that isolation, which we also mentioned already, is the scourges of the elderly. There needs network that people participate in. Now, of course, there are all different degrees of participation, and that may mean different things to different people. But the isolated older person is, I believe, at a very, very great disadvantage. and is going to have a great deal of difficulty fulfilling or being the best that he or she can be under the circumstances.
Yeah, without the human response of other people, it's difficult for most of us to really operate at our best. If we get no feedback, if we feel that we're living in a vacuum.
And this is Armstrong Williams Show. Dr. Bobby Fleischer, Dr. Thelma Reese. We'll be back.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Life is full of unexpected changes. Everyone has potential to do wrong. And when they choose to do it, contact the Bucksell Group for your private investigation needs. TheBucksellGroup.com or by phone at 202-243-9746. Whether there's an instance of a cheating spouse, child custody, process service, or security, don't continue suspecting. Get closure so that you can move on with your life. Visit TheBucksellGroup.com now or call 202-243-9746. If you think it's happening, it probably is.
To travelers along the road of life who have fallen asleep at the wheel, to the many who woke up in time to avert disaster and get back on the righteous path. For the ones who crashed and survived and now adhere vigilantly to a virtuous and righteous path. Finally, Armstrong Williams' much-anticipated new book, Reawakening Virtues, gives his insights into these daily challenges and much more. Reawakening Virtues is available in bookstores and at Amazon.com.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Most Americans simply have never been taught the basics of money management, let alone how to secure their financial future. But there is hope. Financial Education and Literacy Advisors, also known as FELA, does what others don't. FELA teaches financial education. If you'd like more information about providing a financial wellness program for your employees, or a credit-bearing college course in personal finance, or other valuable programs, please visit myfela.com. That's myfela.com, or send an email to info@myfela.com.
Elder Chicks is an exciting part of the fastest growing segment of the population. Women in their 70s, 80s, and older who are mastering the art of a senior life. We're no longer unseen and unheard. We're providing role models for each other and the baby boomers who are fast approaching retirement. Join our virtual community. Hit www.elderchicks.com on your computer keyboard.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
And welcome back to the broadcast, and thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Thelma Reese and Dr. Bobby Fleischer. I want to get back to, I know we've touched on this before, and some of our listeners have written in. What is the best way do they do planning for the things that can possibly happen when you're up in age, Dr. Fleischer? What this thing we call death?
Planning for older age.
Yes. Making sure the ducks are in line.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Making sure that their house is in order.
That the house is in order?
Their financial house.
Ah, yes, okay. Well, I think it's important to know what your retirement plans are. Do you have a pension? Whom can you call to find out about that? Have insurance? Whom do you call to find out about that? The names, the numbers, if these all should be filed in a folder that is easily accessible either by you or by a member of your family that needs to find it. Some of these things go in a safe deposit box or in a lock box in your house. But these, all of the things that are going to sustain you as you are older, and I'm talking, and since we're talking financially, we mean any of the sources of your income. You need to understand. Many people say, "Oh, I can't understand that. I don't deal with that."
Oh yeah, and they will say that too.
My husband deals with that. This is bad. This is not. You need to be responsible and know where these papers and exactly what is there.
Yeah.
Dr. Reese?
That
is our responsibility. But if you are the child of an older person, a child can be, somebody who's 70 years old,
right.
but still feels sort of responsible, and maybe is, and maybe you have a parent who really has never had to deal with these things and never had to plan. And you can teach that person how to do it, and you can do it without making them feel terrible about it. But I was giving a workshop one day, and a 92-year-old retired dentist was in the audience, and he participated. And he told about having sat down with his children and not even the grandchildren, but his children were in their 60s. And they met with his attorney to talk about what was going to happen to the things that he had. Their mother had already died. And he said he was very open about this with the group that we were talking with. And he said, I was shocked to hear them talk about the fact that I wasn't going to be here eventually. And one of his sons, who was a wonderful man, said, "Dad, you have to face the fact you're in your 90s. You don't have that long, and we want to take care of things the way you want to take care of them." And he laughed. He said, once I accepted that fact, he's been very fortunate and been in good health. But he said, once I really accepted that, I knew what I had to do, and I had to talk with them openly about what I would like to see done with whatever I have. And if you can be open with your family and have a good discussion, that's a really good thing for families to do. Sometimes, as in their case, it's good to have a third party who isn't emotionally involved. If you have an attorney in the family or one that you use, that might be helpful. But people have to try to get things in order, and they do it with their children and grandchildren in mind, and know that this is something they're doing for them.
What is also interesting that we found is that many senior citizens have spent so much of their lives paying down on their insurance, that what they call their death insurance, so everything is being taken care of. And what they don't realize is that sometimes it's a scam. They're not paying down it. They still owe much more money, and these insurance companies are just taking their money. How do you advise them in that area? I mean, it happens often.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Fleischer?
Well, that's very interesting. When my husband was alive, he didn't believe in insurance. he preferred to work himself with the money that he had and invest it in the way he wanted. So I don't know about insurance companies scamming people, but let me say I'm not surprised. One of the things that I have run into is parents that somehow have always kept their financial information from their children. And it never got to the point that they then shared it with them. As though the financial information was something not to be shared. And we never understood why that was so. I mean, we felt that it was important to share with our children, I'm very fortunate in that I have children that I can trust. Some people don't have that. Some people maybe don't have children, or maybe have children that they are not so sure have their best interests at heart. We've come across all sorts of situations.
Now that's a sad situation.
Yes, it is.
Pathetic. That's tragic.
Talk about that a little. Talk about some instances.
Yeah. Oh my.
It's reality. People need to know.
I know of one family now where the daughter, who has very little money, is panicking because she is seeing her parents, as she puts it, spend what she anticipated having as an inheritance as she ages.
Wow.
Because as they become more infirm, they are spending what they had, and she was counting on. People are very strange about money.
Well, wait a minute. Does she want them to die sooner?
She won't say that openly, Armstrong, but you do get the feeling that maybe that's in the back of it, because she loves them dearly on the one hand, and on the other hand, she's frightened herself.
Well, why should she be dependent on her parents' money? She should have made her own way.
Well, yes.
Should have. Yes.
Shoulda, woulda. That's what people wind up saying a lot if they don't prepare. That's what people wind up saying all the time. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
And then of course there's a situation where the parents may need to have help in the house because they can't do it themselves, and there again, some of the children are figuring, they're spending my money.
Yes.
Let's go Let's go to Mike, who's holding. Mike, you have a comment. Thank you for calling. Go ahead. Hello, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Go ahead.
Okay. I said, I just joined the conversation, so this may have already been mentioned. But I just heard someone say, or made reference to the fact that in a lot of cases, parents don't go over their finances with their kids. And I was just wondering, do you think that maybe it's because of this culture that we live in that unfortunately still many people associate how much money they make or how much income they have with being a success or a failure, and that, if you really don't have a lot of money, that's a sense of shame for some.
Oh, what an interesting comment.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
Oh, I
don't agree with that, but
it's interesting insight.
I think that does happen with some people. I think that is part maybe of the attitude about not being open about what we have, and that's not new. That's a very old thing. I think most of us older people do not remember our parents speaking openly about how much they made or exactly what they had. It wasn't.
They never did.
It was as unspoken of as having cancer.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of a taboo. Armstrong, did your family talk about? Did your parents talk about what they had?
It's not. No. That's just an interesting question. I've never been asked that before. You know what? That's an interesting question because it's not that they talked about it, but we knew. not in terms of actual dollars.
Yeah.
But we knew, and I will explain that. Mike, just hold there. We're coming back with Dr. Reese and Dr. Fleischer. I'm Armstrong Williams. Don't go away.
Say bye-bye burgers, pass on the pizza, forget the francs. Anytime is party time. Discover Golden Cross's authentic Jamaican-style patties. Beef, chicken, vegetables, soya, spinach, and shrimp. Feast on our great taste sensations. Jerk chicken, oxtail, sliced fish, and much more. Savor the taste of the Caribbean. Only at a Golden Cross near you. A family tradition since 1949. GoldenCrossBakery.com.
For more information on the Armstrong Williams Show, please visit our new website at www.rightsidewire.com. There you can find his syndicated column archive, view live streams, and get your favorite conservative pundits' views on the current issues affecting the American people. From building wealth to foreign policy, stay connected with Armstrong Williams and his colleagues at the all-new www.rightsidewire.com.
Does your school, team, church, or charity need a new fundraiser? Do you need to work out of your home or part-time? Are you a small business that can use an additional revenue stream? Then you need Yellow Llama. Do you need affordable web services or tools to enhance your existing business? Are you a graphic artist who wants to create a revenue stream with your art but not get ripped off? Then go to www.yellowllama.com.
Anderson Brothers Bank, a family-owned and operated establishment that blends traditional personal service, local market awareness, and advanced technology to meet the financial needs of its customers. Visit abbank.com or call 843-464-6271 to see how they can assist you with your banking needs. Anderson Brothers Bank, celebrating 75 years of community banking, the way it should be. Stability right in your backyard since 1933.
America must change course if we hope to survive and save the American dream for our children and grandchildren. How do we fix Social Security and Medicare? How do we cut government spending? How do we reform health care? How do we simplify the tax code? The Heritage Foundation has a bold plan that tackles these tough problems using common sense solutions that leave partisan politics on the sidelines. Find out how we can save the American dream at savingthedream.org, paid for by the Heritage Foundation.
Join the millions of Americans who pursue one of our country's finest traditions, from hunting to sport shooting. Since 1871, the NRA has grown as a service organization involved in all aspects of shooting sports and is a proud defender of the Bill of Rights. Join today to begin taking advantage of exclusive membership offers and discounts, including up to $25,000 in insurance coverage. Contact the NRA today. Call 1-800-672-3888 or visit nra.org.
Where heads of state, sports, entertainment, and political celebrities meet. You're listening to Armstrong Williams.
You know, I'm so appreciative that you asked that question about did we know. We did know because when we could afford things, my parents would say, well, we could do that now because we can afford it. The farm is doing well. I remember when we were in college, there was no problem paying, but when things would slow down, my dad said, well, this boy here is going to have to probably work part-time because the money is not what it used to be. So that is the way we knew. They were always open about what they could and could not afford.
Yeah. Thank heaven.
Mike, your final comment, Mike?
Oh, well, like I said, I just want to put that point out there. And I do believe that in some cases, unfortunately, some people do allow the amount of money that they have or the amount of wealth they have towards the latter part of their lives determine how successful they have been. Like I said, I don't agree with that necessarily, but unfortunately, a lot of times your wealth tend to be a factor in whether or not you see yourself as having succeeded or not.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Mike, and listening to the show. So, Dr. Reese, are you and Dr. Fleischer saying that you had no indication of what it was?
No, in the sense that I also always knew whether we could afford or not something, but in terms of knowing anything about the numbers, what was earned, we knew, that we had significant limitations on what we could have or couldn't have. But even when I started working, I remember that my first office mate, when I was teaching in a college, and I used to remark that no one knew what anyone else was making.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of the big secret. And it's something that did not get talked about.
Well, maybe it was not something that you talked about in polite society at that time.
Right.
Well, we had that situation too at the university where I taught, but I think that was greatly fostered by the university, by the college, because they did not want, particularly women, to know that the men in their departments of the same rank were making a lot more money.
They were making a lot more.
Right, and that, I thought, that at that time was the basis of why in a college or a university, no one knew what the salary scale was, because there was no salary scale.
Right.
It was whatever you could negotiate. And men negotiated a lot more than women did.
Right, and I know that when we came in, as we used to finally discuss together, it took a long time to do that, we realized we hadn't negotiated at all. We had come in and were so happy that someone wanted to hire us that we never asked.
Well, because if I always felt, well, if I asked for more, I wouldn't get the job.
They wouldn't want to at all.
Well, let me ask you, were your children, when you were growing up, were they aware the kind of income or financial resources that you both had?
No.
When they were growing up, no. When they became adults, yes.
What's the difference?
Judgment of what to do with the information. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know that there should be a difference. I really don't know. And maybe what I was doing was what my parents did. I didn't know what their income was either.
I think that's what happens, is mainly that we do pretty much what we saw growing up, without even thinking it through. And I think that probably the best policy today for people would be to be open with their families. I mean, you don't have to tell everybody, and I think that Mike made a very good point about that there are so many people in our society, and not just ours, who really come to feel that it's about, their income says something about who they are in terms of
what they're worth.
They're worth instead of...
As people,
Yeah.
You know what? I will tell you this. As much as you may say that they don't know, I think it's very easy for children to figure out how well their parents doing. You can tell how they live compared to the friends that they're in school with, whether they go on vacation, the kind of supplies and the kind of things they have in the home they have access to. I think it's very interesting, very easy for children to gauge that. Even today, with me and my nieces and my family, it is obvious, it's something that we don't talk about it, but it's obvious to gauge just how well a family member is doing by their conversation, by whether they're saying they cannot afford this, I got to watch my spending. I don't think that's very difficult for someone to gauge how well a family is doing. Because you can tell by the food you have on the table, the kind of clothes that you can afford, the books you can afford, whether the school trips they can afford, and whether you give them spending money. I just think it's so easy to gauge.
Well, is it important, though, to know specifics when your parents are aging? And then it is. It becomes important as people may need care.
But you know
and may need to know how long they can be sustained with what they have.
But let me tell you something about parents. I'm going to flip the script on you. Parents know, and they've known for a long time, when certain children of theirs are strictly out for their money and wish that they were not here, and they're just waiting on the moment for them to die. And sometimes what they don't realize is that when they go to the reading of the will, the parents let it be known that they knew what their agenda was or how they dealt with the will.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that they have enough to leave that those kids will find out.
Right.
At the reading.
Parents are very well who their kids are.
Yeah, I guess.
They are.
Yeah. I think you've got something there.
I don't know. My parents were not well.
Good God, I got to ask you what we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, I like it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food. No, we need it. Soul Food. Henry Soul Food.
Home of the sweet potato pie. Even the keenest taste buds will tell you the best food on the planet. Large enough to serve you and small enough to know you. So get the Henrys at 5431 Indian Head Highway, Oxon Hill, Maryland, or give us a call at 301-749-6856.
Soul food. Henry Soul Food. What we need. Soul food. Henry Soul Food.
Welcome to the Armstrong Williams Show, brought to you by Golden Crust Bakery, the fastest growing Caribbean-owned franchise in the United States. Golden Crust is committed to the delivery of quality food and excellent customer service. Visit them today at goldencrustbakery.com. Dr. Reese, Dr. Flash, are you still with us?
Oh, yes.
My system just decided that it needed a break and decided to shut down.
Well, I heard the music suddenly, and it was different music.
Yeah, you learn a lot sitting in this chair. But, we were talking about, listen, so the bottom line is that I don't think that you may not know exact figures, but you know exactly what your parents are doing. I think we lost Dr. Reese.
I think so. I think we must have. Yes. Yes, there is no question. I never felt that my parents were withholding. They were very much of the Depression and taught me that my brother and me that we had to really watch what we spent, to not waste anything, and things did not come easily. And so this is how we were brought up, and in turn, this is how we brought up our children. So yes, I did not need to know exactly what they were making. They worked as hard as they could. They earned as much as they could in an honest way. We were never ashamed of their income or lack of it. And as I said, they took care of themselves as long as they could, and then we took over. And we're happy to do it.
Well, they didn't do a bad job.
They were great parents. They really were.
How long ago did you lose your parents?
I was in my 40s. My mother and father were close to 40 when I was born, so that they were older than most of my friends' parents. And I know exactly. I was 40 and 41. 40 when my father died, and 41 when my mother died.
Oh, close together.
And yes, they died a year apart. Yeah, they were a year apart in age and died a year apart. And that's my father died the way he wanted to, which was in a minute. He dropped dead. And my mother died the way she would have hated to, and that is she lived for 6 or 7 years with infirmities as a result of a stroke.
Oh, wow. It's that long.
Yeah. So the last few years of her life, she lived with my husband and my family, and we took care of her, and well, that was the last year. It was the last year, because as long as my father was alive, she was living with him. But it was the last year she lived with us, and I mean there was no question. This is what we had to do, and this is what we did willingly.
It was our duty. Listen, I cannot thank you and Dr. Reese enough for joining us. These shows are always provocative and much to think about and much to remember. Thank you, Dr. Reese, Dr. Fleischer. And
well, thank you so much for listening to us.
We listen to each other.
And for asking us the things that you want to know or that we can maybe talk about.
And now
we
that
appreciate
they've
it.
reconnected me, I'll say thank you too.
Well, thank you. Take care, everyone. Good day. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. This is Armstrong Williams on the right side. Don't curse, speak English. Virtuous society. I dare you to listen. Hey, turn it up. Hey. Get on the right side. Elevate your mind. I'm Armstrong Williams on the right side. Yo, man, it's your boy K.O. And you're tuned in to the most conservative of our brothers. The Armstrong Williams Show. Please give me a break. Grow up.
So, you got my text, Curtis canceled it.
The views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily those of either WGCV 620 AM, its staff or management, or our parent company, Glory Communications Incorporated.
Next, you get to talk with PA on your way home. The PA Bennett Show on WGCV 620 AM, where knowledge is power.
620 AM, a part of your community.
Hi, I'm Lewis Burns with Consolidated Planning. We help people meet their financial goals. Are you looking to buy a home or have a